This is Peggy Smedley, the editorial director of Connected World magazine and the host of the Peggy Smedley Show. And today I'm with Michael Jansen, the CEO of Cityzenith. Michael, welcome.
Thank you for having me today.
So Michael, we have to ask, tell us about your company and how it fits into this whole world of the Internet of Things.
Well, Cityzenith is a software company based here in Chicago with a data visualization platform for city data with a particular focus on IoT data. What we've done is we've created a single consolidated point of interface for all of the city's data, from open data to IoT and machine-to-machine, even social media data, and we bring that into a 3D visual model of the city, a bit like Google Earth, but a professional and highly data-intensive version of that. So one of the things that we like to do is show how data operates and works within the context of the city. IoT is increasingly important because of the proliferation of sensors now in cities, whether they're pollution sensors or vehicle detection sensors or wind load detection sensors, and being able to take that data and put it in a common platform that everyone can easily use is our principal task.
Well, let's talk about that. When we talk about data itself, it becomes a little overwhelming to really understand what data means.
That's right.
If you have too much data, it's overwhelming. So how do you take data and make it into usable information so the consumer of it, the person or individual consuming it, can really value it?
Good question. We kind of look at data in cities these days, if you'll pardon the expression, as a bit of a trash heap, literally like a mountain of data. That is because 90 or 95% of it is unstructured, which means it either is underused or completely unused. The challenge with dealing with these mountains of data is first ferreting out what exists in what form, and also what data you specifically need to solve specific problems. So what we do is, inside this 3D digital model environment we call a geospatial environment, we choose specific data sets that we then visualize and analyze and eventually allow users to interface within a 3D model. So by doing that, everyone from the mayor to the technician in any city department to the citizen walking down the street can have easy access to this data in real time.
So Michael, what would really help us? Can you give us some examples of some of the cities you might be working with that are talking about all this and using big data?
Sure. The very first that we contracted with was the city of Barcelona that has over 1 million IoT sensors deployed across the city. So they were a great foray into this market. They were followed by Amsterdam, and then San Francisco, then Chicago. Now we're working with the DOIT here in the city and the chief data officer. And then London, Singapore, Washington, D.C. more recently. And as recently as last week, the city of Dubai. So we're making our way around these key major markets where we're finding data-driven cities.
Michael, it'll help. You were talking about some of the other cities. Can you expound a little bit more on how the city of Chicago is using some of that data a little bit?
Chicago, yes, is actually one of the most ambitious of all of our projects because we're actually modeling all of the underground physical infrastructure in the city, road tunnels, water lines, gas lines, fiber optic lines, etc. So what we're going to do with our partners here across the city and different universities, etc., is begin to affix sensors to some of those pieces of critical infrastructure that will feed real-time data about water pressure, about aging condition, etc., that is critical to the operations of those assets.
We're running out of time, but really quickly, looking at how we're growing and everybody's embracing data, where do you see it taking us now as we see all of the Internet of Things?
I think IoT data will become the largest portion or segment of data, if it isn't already, in the years to come. We're seeing an extraordinary emphasis on the proliferation of devices in cities, which is really responsible for this, and also the systems necessary to deliver that data, such as Wi-Fi, ubiquitous Wi-Fi networks, and microcell networks for some of the telecoms. So I think the future is big for IoT data, and the challenge is going to be making that data useful to businesses, cities, and people who actually use them.
Michael, thank you for being with us today. We enjoyed all your commentary.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.